Designing, teaching, and assessing technology-enhanced lessons. Creating and using multimedia in the classroom. This will be my screencast for the next few moments and the subject area that we'll be talking about. We're going to be using the CaseNex 5-step analysis method, and we're going to be dealing with 5 main things. We're going to talk about the perspective of the technology that's going to be used, the knowledge that I have acquired, the actions that I would like to take with these proposed facts, and the consequence and issues that may arise from using these newer technology methods. First, what actions will I take from the new knowledge gained from this course? I'd like to do 3 things. The first thing I'd like to do is create a wiki page for my students, teachers, and parents. The page will consist of PE resources such as myplate.gov, which is a healthy food website, an interactive website. Other websites that are interactive like Kidspiration and Inspiration, which talk about why it's important to be healthy, why it's important for health fitness, and other resources as well as I can do for fitness testing as well, part of that wiki page. The second thing I would like to do is do an online discussion board where the students can comment on lessons and units with other classmates. Teachers can go on there, parents and students from our school, anyone that has access to the online discussion board from our school can go and kind of see what the students are talking about, what they like, what they've learned, and some of the things that they look forward to over the next couple weeks. The third thing I'd like to do is do what's called cross-curricular lesson units. I'd like to focus on 3 things: geography, health, and science, incorporating the electronic devices. With geography, I notice a lot of times when I do certain things, I will say things like the city of Annapolis, or I will say certain geography locations, and students will kind of look at me. So I'd like to include that in a lot of the moving activities that we're doing, whether I'm using poly spots on the ground, whether they're climbing around, and there are pictures of certain geographical locations around the gym. I would like to be doing that. With health and science, obviously with your fitness, your eating healthy is good. Science, something like recycling, where you're incorporating different things like paper products and waste products and bottles, and where do they go and which things are recyclable. You can do these in a lot of different moving relay games. I have a game that I'd like to incorporate. So those are some things I'd like to do from using the device and adding other newer age, I should say, technological advances. The results of these proposed actions. Well, there's 4 things. There's an upside. The upside would be that there's PE health discussions. They're learning outside of the PE class, and there's more technology use. So I'd like the fact that the students not only will be talking about PE here in class, but have an opportunity outside of the class to do this and discuss this with classmates. I like how the learning outside of the PE class can not only be for the students, but for the teachers and the parents as well. And with the software that's included on some of these wiki pages and things like that, they're going to be getting more technology use. Always as an intended purpose is going to be the communication with other students. I think that's very important. They want to keep that stream of communication going between other students. Maybe students that don't see one another in each classroom can communicate, hey, this is what we did in PE today. Did you do this earlier in the week? And some of the students can kind of relay their thoughts about the unit. Also, we'll be displaying resources for a healthy lifestyle. Using those wiki pages, we'll be able to have different resources that show you why it's important to eat healthy and why it's important to exercise and things like that. The downside would be that the students and parents may not use the resources, and it can be time consuming. These resources will be available. It doesn't mean that the parents and the students will use them. That would be my motivation to get them to do that. Also, the software can be time consuming to learn, to navigate through, which it goes into our unintended area. Students can get frustrated by the software, and there could be software issues. So we need to make sure the infrastructure for those things are set when they are online and on my different pages. How has my perspective changed on the use of technology? Well, first I thought it was more, I use technology more as a record keeping or word processing. And with the word processing, basically just, and even with the record keeping our fitness journal, or keeping a pulse rate. With the word processing, maybe just writing or even typing things on the technology is kind of how I used it initially for the first few years of my teaching. My new outlook would be using it as a communication resource and as a learning tool. When they have these electronic devices, or I'm able to go into the lab and do these things, other than just doing simple research, we want to find out if they can communicate not only within their school, but even globally, communicating resources and learning tools and learning softwares that they can use to help them, basically, as the phys ed department says, have a healthy mind and a healthy body. What issues or problems, dilemmas still concern me? Well, there's a few. The few issues that I have are time and available resources. I see the students once a week for 50 minutes, so to incorporate a lot of the technologies that I would like to do, I would like to see them a lot more, at least twice a week, if not 3 times. Plus the available resources that we have to us right now. Right now, we do not have all the electronic devices, and we have one computer lab that, with 25 classes everyone trying to get to, can be very time consuming to get there, and can be very difficult. A problem I see also that may come is the training that the school's going to get on the software. The teachers, will they be trained? Will the students be trained? Will the IAs, will the paid parent helpers be trained on that software? Will the secretaries be trained on that software to answer questions? Maybe as a parent's calling in just to ask a basic question, will they have the knowledge to since they're the initial responders, when a parent comes in for a quick question, will they have that knowledge as well? So who's going to get trained, and when is that training going to be done? And the following thing is the dilemma I have is ability for all students to use the resources. Obviously it's a great resource to use, but economically, if you don't have a device at home, economically, if you don't have access to these things, you're unable to do some of these discussions and things that we're doing at school. And then my second thing is intellectually, like, will you have that support at home to do these things that I would like you to do with the wiki pages and with the discussion boards? Will you have the support that you'll need? Obviously, our students range in academic ability level, so those students that struggle intellectually are going to need that support, and will they have that support at home and here at school? Finally, my last thing is, what additional knowledge will I need to resolve these issues? And the first is, will each school have a full-time resource teacher? Right now we have a part-time tech teacher. She is between here and another elementary school. So basically she oversees about 1,000 students and probably about 90 teachers. In our case readings, we had one resource teacher for English, one for math, one for science. That's an ideal situation. Is that something that Baltimore County is going to do for our school system as well? Again, who will be trained on the software? Is it just teachers and students, or is it going to be IAs, paid parent helpers? Is it going to be any parents that are in here? Also, when you have a substitute in your class, will they be trained on the software that the teachers will be using? Again, the administration, I'm sure, would have to be trained as well. Plus, our reading specialists, our speech specialists, our secretaries. Who's getting all the training to be able to answer any of these questions that people might have and use it as well? What does the future school budget entail? Basically, are we going to have enough money and resources to continue with this? Are we going to have the infrastructure money to deal with any issues that come across? Are we going to have resources for the school budget for every device? I mean, obviously that's the plan for right now, but plans do change. And then what is the budget for each school, as for labs and as for different resources available, whether it's Elmo screens or whether it's whiteboards or Promethean boards? Will these things be available over the next few years? And my final question is, will special area teachers be given more time with students? Again, at the elementary level, when you see them once a week and they're off for a certain day, or you have an assembly or something, there can be a time where I only see students twice a month, and it's very difficult for them to learn new things and apply the software when you see them 2 times in a month period. So that is where I stand on all of the technology issues that I would say as a special area teacher. Thank you. And again, this is my designing, teaching, and assessing technology enhanced lessons, and these are some things I have for creating and using the multimedia in the classroom. Thank you. This is Michael Lambert, and I appreciate your time.